Sonic the Continuation, Issue 6. We start out with reporter Sally having some realistic dialogue, seeing a robot threaten a bake sale. Sonic casually calls her by her first name and says, "Pardon me," and plans to smash the Badnik. Since when would Fleetway Sonic say, "Pardon me"? But it makes sense that he'd know the first name of the news reporter if he watched the news enough to see where he's made as a hero. It's still weird that he calls her by her first name, though. Does he mean it when he says, "Let's do lunch"? That'd be taking an impressive risk, since the fan comic is already pushing it by having her look like Archie Sally for some reason. I'm fine with thinking of this as an alternate universe in the Archie Sonic multiverse. Aside from the little fact that it's kind of confusing that in this universe, Sonic needed an experiment of Eggman's to make him blue, while in all the other universes, he's like that when he was born. Anyways, why is the robot attacking? Sonic spin dashes and bounces off stuff to get to higher places to continue damaging the robot, like an IDW. The wall jumping is the only thing interesting about it. Yawn. He gets bounced off a force field, and when he has to deal with some fire, he creates a tornado. I still don't care, since I don't know why the robot's here, and he always wins against robots. There's no tension. Sonic relatedly hopes she got that all on film, and she tells him that her cameraman ran off, which is surprisingly realistic. And I'm glad she said sorry with relatable dialogue. Then the original Metal Sonic attacks him from behind while he's talking to her, smacking him into the wall and damaging it. So he starts fighting it. You need more in a plot than just characters fighting robots. This is supposed to be more interesting than IDW. And we should know why the original Metal Sonic was able to escape the place that he was being used for to make the Metalix. Because it's just so hard to believe that he was made years ago, when he's only become a problem now. Sonic accuses him of using a Badnik to lure him out for a cheap shot. How is that giant thing a Badnik? It doesn't have animals in it. If Badnik was meant to be a catch-all term for any robot, then explain why they replaced the word Badnik with Eggman robots for all of the robots in Sonic Heroes. Sonic asks when he got so fast, and Metal hits him in the face, so he's faster than Sonic. Which makes sense if he's upgraded. I still hate that Metal's text bubbles look so different from his. Metal, who annoys me with his first sentence being overly stilted, says that he thinks the Metalix were inferior or mass-produced copies. Again, I'm not sure why they'd be inferior just because they're mass-produced. And rebelling against Eggman was them malfunctioning. And they're still family in a sense, so he wants to eliminate Sonic for their sake. Wait, first he calls them inferior to him and malfunctioning, but then he wants to avenge them. So despite thinking he's better than them, he's actually more considerate than Omega because he feels sympathy for the inferior robots and wants to avenge them. Finally, reporter Sally tries to do something, which was gutsy to write. She smacks Metal with something made of metal. Where'd she get it? And there's another M comic style panel above her. At least another M, the blood wasn't in color. I never thought I'd see that in a Sonic fan comic again. So, where'd she get that metal thing? Is that Badnik shrapnel? And it's lame that we didn't actually see it impact Metal Sonic. And yet showing gore is considered just fine. Metal holds on to the metal rod, and Sally gets smacked away, predictably. Why is he calling a mere news reporter he only talked to a few times his friend? That's nice of him. It really feels like it's just meta logic, where he's only suddenly treating her this way because Sally's known for being his friend in Archie. And since Grimer managed to get away after last time, he's made it back to the city, and he's even gotten a new lab coat that looks exactly like his old one. Somehow, when everyone would just want to call the police on him on sight, and why would he have any weapons to threaten people with? He was just kidnapped. Did he keep a ray gun in his pants last time? Surprisingly, Grimer shoots Metal Sonic with a laser, and lampshades the irony of his doing this and says, "Excuse me, that's new." It's extremely odd though. Grimer made the Metal Sonics and hates Sonic with a passion. So we're full-on alternate universe from SCC right now. Metal Sonic says he's activating his emergency particle shunt displacement, and Grimer says he doesn't remember installing a teleportation device into the Metalist prototype. Then why does he have it? Oh yeah, he's working for Dr. Zachary. So Zachary must have put that in Metal Sonic. And since Eggman's working with Dr. Zachary, wouldn't it have been so much less confusing if Eggman was the one who made Metal Sonic? Because then he'd be made much more recently. And we see that in the Sonic Continuation universe, Bean and Bark are firemen. Good for them, having an honest living. Although it's weird to draw Bean as so short as if he's a kid, when he's still allowed to have a career. Apparently he's just short for the same reason Sniffly is short. He was as tall as Sonic in Flynn's fan comics. Sonic compassionately asks Sally if she's okay, and she fortunately says she's embarrassed that she got knocked around so much. I was embarrassed for her, but it was totally logical that it happened. It's Metal Sonic. She's lucky he was apparently feeling merciful, because if he hit her at Sonic's speed, it would have instantly killed her. Good thing he was written to explain that he didn't see her as a threat. And she's not Sonic, so of course he doesn't care about killing her. But it would have made just as much sense if he wanted to kill her despite Sonic. She says the Freedom Fighters make it look so easy. Sonic reassures her by saying that the Freedom Fighters weren't awesome from day one either. You got that right. They took forever to even look right. He says just what I was thinking pages ago. She stood up to a Metalix, and that makes her just as much of a freedom fighter as him. She thanks him, and Sonic reveals out of nowhere that Grimer had been sucked into the portal with Forsaken and Rouge. Okay, if he was sent to another dimension where he wouldn't have been inconvenienced by people, then that explains why he was able to freely get a new lab coat and stuff. But I'm not sure he would care which dimension he took over, so why would he get back home as soon as possible? Grimer then shows them a hologram of a president, and says they just went somewhere where they appreciated his talents. He may have talents, but he's still a sociopath to the point of gladly working for Eggman, who put people into badniks for stuff as minor as being sick instead of going to work. I'll appreciate any good he does. But still, it's not about not respecting his talents. We see a human president of the newly formed United Federation, and he says that Mobius and Earth have had an unfortunate history of conflict due to the actions of Colonel Granite. I can only assume he meant to say Colonel and not Cole. But newcomers to SCC wouldn't know what he was talking about. I didn't have the name Granite memorized, just what he did. After all, it's not like he could control granite, or was made of granite. The president says that in Earth's most desperate hour of need, the Earthlings will extend the hand of friendship and ask for the help of Mobian kind. That's a nice turnaround. The people of Earth and SCC have futuristic technology to the point where their British military had a time machine like it was nothing. So they must really desperately need Mobius' help for good reason if they're still in need of it at that point. Because you'd think if they can make a time machine, they'd be able to fix their problem no problem, since there's no limits to what they can make. And it turns out Eggman's camera robot from Sadiam was watching this development. Too bad it ends there. Since when do the Sonic continuation issues end in just 13 pages? Why can't it just continue the story in the same issue when there's time to make more pages? Randomly not having as many pages as usual is something that only a fan comic would do. Like Other M. I don't remember SCC Online doing this. This issue by Akira was about Sonic fighting a robot sent to threaten reporter Sally to lure Sonic to her, so that Metal Sonic can go fight him. Most of this is just unoriginal. And eventually Grimer shows up and shoots Metal Sonic with a laser instead of Sonic, his lifelong enemy. I guess he's playing nice for his own personal benefit? Because him actually turning good would be too good to be true, and gutsy. Though as gutsy how that reporter was portrayed, Sonic the comic would never ever do that. At least she got along with Sonic, unlike most Sallys. The story ends with Grimer revealing that he met with humans who appreciated his talent, because of all the different dimensions he could have been sent to, he was magically sent to Earth. And he shows Sonic a hologram of a human president begging Mobius for help. That was the part where the plot actually got going, but then it just ended there. The vast majority of the story was just Sonic fighting a robot. And granted, it tried to add tension because Sonic was having a really hard time, but with a plot that basic and cliche, who cares? That was almost nothing in story content. So that's why it's a problem that it has the issue end 2 pages early. It could have used those 2 pages. Supersonic, nothing to fear. We start out with Supersonic being confused that he's conscious, and he says he can't be out, and then asks what happened to Emerald Hill Zone. So he's good Supersonic. He's upset about his ruins as an entire page is wasted. Then he gets upset and assumes he killed all of them like Sonic thought he would. So this is just lying to us, right? He gets upset at seeing graves dedicated to all of Sonic's friends. So he's just having a bad dream from guilt. It's made all the more obvious when they rise from the grave looking scary. You know, we clearly saw that Supersonic was back to being evil in issue 2. But no, let's ignore that. Then he sees Johnny's grave. I'm still confused as he says sarcastically that this was very amusing and he was dragged through all of this like a ghost train ride. He says it's time they had a little talk after betting that he isn't aware of this. He wastes my time trying to talk to Sonic when Sonic wouldn't be able to hear him. I guess he's trying to make himself feel better. He says that he knows that Sonic is scared of Supersonic and says that Supersonic was born from all of Sonic's hatred, regrets, and fears. But he will fight it. He was also born from Sonic having too much ring energy, and the story ends with them being threatened by something. But since that was it, this was nothing but a confusing story of nothing. So what, it was all a dream of his while he was trapped in Sonic? There's nothing to say! Especially since the story ends instead of showing us him fighting Nightmare Chaos. This story didn't make sense, so whatever, it's not canon. He's not supposed to be good yet.